It is almost that time for San Francisco 49ers training camp. We are almost back in the driver's seat with 49ers football around the corner. We're going to be talking about all the 49ers players right now who are getting ready and getting prepared for training camp that will be here at the end of the month. Ooh, I can't wait. You already know the vibes. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. Let's cook. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down? SDS, aka the Sourdough Squad. I feel good. I feel like we were in peak off-season mode right around the start, right before 4th of July weekend. And I hope all of you guys had a phenomenal 4th of July weekend. Safe. No one blew their fingers off. Nothing like that. Hopefully, you guys are doing good. All your limbs are still attached. But it felt like everything leading up to 4th of July was like peak off season. And it feels like now we are trending down. We're on that nice, to think of like a skiing or snowboard reference, we're on like one of those blue square runs. We're not quite on the double blacks because when we're about a week away from training camp, oh, we're on double blacks. We're going straight down the mountain, torpedoing towards training camp. Right now, we went from the bunny hill, which is almost flat, to now we're angling. We're angling towards training camp. Ooh, boy, I can't wait. I'm super, super excited to see all these 49ers players. Again, rookies, second year players, vets, guys who are going to rebound, all those types of things. And we are seeing some of the work that is being put in right now by some of these players. And I mean, you see guys like Deebo Samuel out here. Like I've talked about it all offseason. What we're seeing from Deebo Samuel's there's something different right now about Deebo Samuel. Now, not everyone posts everything, and that's perfectly fine as well. Again, just because they're not posting their workouts to social doesn't mean they're not doing anything. Some prefer to work in silence, and some prefer to show their gains. I have no problem with either one of those scenarios and however you go about it. But when we get to see, it helps us get a little bit excited. But first, let's say what's good to the squad. What's good, Jimmy? Oh, we threading, baby. We threading the needle all day. Shout out to the SDS. What's up, Niner Joe? Michael, what's good? Shout out to all the bread gang. Good to see the sourdough squad checking in. What's good, gang? Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. I say weekend because today's Thursday, but oddly enough, today feels like a Monday for me. It's my whole schedule is messed up. But shout out to Ginger Squad. We out here cooking. Shout out to SDS. Good to see you guys. We got Twitch checking in. Beta holding down for our one Twitch streamer. Let's go. But yeah, today's a weird day because it kind of feels like Monday to me, but it's Thursday, July 6th. But as you guys remember, the 49ers did announce training camp dates last week. So that was kind of our preemptive get hyped for training camp. And so this is how it's going to play out if you don't remember. Rookies will report to training camp on July 18th. July 18th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days away. 12 days until rookies show up at Santa Clara, get their pads all fitted, get their practice jerseys, get their pants, get the whole routine dialed in. Then veterans will be hopping in a week later on July 25th. And then, ladies and gentlemen, that means training camp is here. Hallelujah! Praise the football gods. This has been the longest off season in the history of off seasons, and I cannot wait until we get real football back. And I know you can't either. Whoo! We're gonna stop all these hypotheticals. We're gonna stop all this, the prime off-season content, and our year begins. Our year begins July 25th. If you're a diehard, 49er fan. Now we have different spectrums of 49ers fans, right? We have 49er fans that check in on Sundays. We have 49er fans that check in every couple Sundays. We have 49er fans that will tune in around playoff time. But we also have diehards. Every single one of you in this chat, the reason you're in this chat on July 6th is because you're a diehard fan, which means our season begins on July 25th. What, 3 weeks away? Woo! Let's go. I'm hyped. If you're a diehard fan, let me know. Let me know in the Georgia's diehard. I mean, look at the hat. Look at the hat. Killing it with the hat. But man, I've been praying for times like this, baby. We've been waiting, and it's almost here. And I'm very happy about it. You know who else is going to be happy about it? I think guys like Deebo Samuel. Again, we keep talking about Deebo and the work that he's putting in, but my boy Deebo really out here cooking, literally in 107-degree weather. This was from this might have been on 4th of July. I'm not sure. But I would say, at least from the visuals that we have gotten, look at all the diehards in here. Look at you guys. Look at you guys out here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's coming. It's coming, baby. The hype is coming. Our season never ends. Very true. Die hard like Bruce Willis. Tell him, baby. Deebo's grinding. No clips. Football season is year round, especially for us here. But it has been the longest off season ever. But one of the things that I want to highlight with Deebo right here is, again, I don't know. I like to believe that I am pretty good at reading body language, specifically in football players. Again, I've told this story before. When I was playing college football, like, it had dawned on me that, yeah, I'm probably not going to the pros, but I love this game, and I love the evaluation side of it. So early on in college, I decided I'm going to pay attention to everyone, not just me and what I need to do, but eventually when I'm done playing this game, I want to do something in football, whether it's coaching, whether it's, I have no idea, whether it's YouTube streams, definitely wasn't in the cards back then. But as I went through every day in practice, watching myself get better, watching my teammates get better, watching how guys reacted, body language of everyone, like, I paid attention to all that stuff. And Deebo, to me, stood out early on in this offseason, early on with some of the stuff that he was doing, because Deebo, I would say, I go back to Deebo when he was getting ready for the draft, pre-draft Deebo. Pre-draft Deebo felt like a different animal because I think pre-draft Deebo had a lot to prove. He had been hurt quite a bit throughout his college career. He's talked about it. He went to the Senior Bowl, absolutely went crazy, right? And then really shot up draft boards. I mean, Deebo was probably like a 5th, 6th round pick before he went to the Senior Bowl. And he even admitted he wasn't going to go to the Senior Bowl, and last minute decided, which completely changed the trajectory of where he was going to be drafted. But I was a big fan of Deebo from the Senior Bowl on. And so I watched everything that he put out. And he was putting out a lot of workout videos. You could see, like, he was posting probably every day, every one of his workouts. And you could see, off-season rookie Deebo was grinding. Now, we've seen that Deebo since, but there was a little bit of it started to taper off. And of course, last year, we didn't see a whole lot of anything from Deebo in the offseason because he was dealing with the contract stuff. So we really didn't see anything. And I think he even admitted that his whole routine was off. He wasn't working out as much. But this year, there's something different about him. There's just something different about him. You can sense it. You can feel the energy like permeating off these videos. Again, he's posting a bunch. Again, not everyone posts a bunch, right? Doesn't mean you're not cooking. But I love the fact that he's out here in 170-degree weather. I think he's in Arizona. He's working out with Saquon Barkley. He's working out with other big-time pros. I know you guys have seen the video of him on the sled as well. I think we got that over here of him pushing the sled with Saquon. I mean, these guys are working, man. They're working hard. And this Deebo, I'm particularly excited about this year because we've talked about it before, but you're seeing it. You just keep seeing it. He's got something to prove. And a Deebo Samuel with something to prove is dangerous. Ooh, boy. He's dangerous. A locked in, motivated, in shape Deebo Samuel, we already know, is probably one of the most scariest weapons in the NFL. We've seen it firsthand. We've seen him carry the offense single-handedly by himself. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what he puts together. Some other guys that are putting some stuff together today. We got this from Trenches Live on Instagram. Trent Williams is hosting a camp for offensive linemen. So most of these offensive linemen in the background are college offensive linemen. That's Spencer Burford, though. So this is really cool because Trent Williams is already the GOAT offensive lineman. He's the GOAT tackle. And we also know Spencer Burford has elite traits, especially from a guard position. He's like your prototypical tackle frame playing guard. And that means long arms, long legs, and the ability to pass protect, all those types of things. And the fact that these guys are out here working together in the offseason brings a smile to my face personally, because I don't think you could handpick a better mentor for Spencer Burford, who had a good rookie season, but he could be a whole lot better. Spencer Burford could be a whole lot better. Spencer Burford has a Pro Bowl ceiling. He's one of those guys. So I'm really, really looking forward to the way Spencer Burford's a guy that I think could be a breakout player. And you don't often talk about offensive linemen as breakout players because, like, how do you break out? Considering the fact that Burford split reps continually with Brunskill last year, and he did have his ups and downs. He definitely did have his ups and downs all season. That's why he probably split reps with Brunskill for the majority of the year. But there was glimpses and moments where you could really see the potential. And so with Burford coming into this year, if he can keep a stranglehold on this job and continue to improve, Spencer Burford has a big-time ceiling. I love that he's working out with Trent Williams. Couldn't be happier about all that. I'm excited for it. Let's see. I want to get back to – I haven't been paying attention to the chat. I want to get back to some of the chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Hugo says, "Do you think Kyle opens up and lets the QB make changes to play with audibles? Will that hurt the scheme or make it better?" I'll be honest, I really don't know how much control these quarterbacks have at the line of scrimmage in regards to calling their own plays, shifting into audibles, things like that. I feel like Kyle does have an offense that is definitely predicated on what the defense shows him. I think what Brock might have, or whoever the starting quarterback is, will have the ability to check in and out of certain plays based on looks, have an ability to switch right to left, do things like that. That's a good question, though. I don't know, but I would say is as long as the quarterback who is under center taking starts for the San Francisco 49ers has a full understanding of the offense, like, and he can read it like the back of his hand, then I don't see why not. But I do know Kyle is very specific with the way he wants things run and operated. But I think there, especially with what we saw from Brock Purdy last year, there is an ability to be able to uh, do different things. All right. We got a troll in the chat. All in favor, because we're gonna let I'm gonna let you guys decide. All in favor of kicking Mike Hall? Let me know in the chat. We don't have any time for trolls today. We're having a good conversation about the San Francisco 49ers. We're not gonna let a little troll derail us. And if the sourdough squad wants him out of here, I will gladly acquiesce. Right off the he even said kick. He even said kick. I mean, you can see yourself out, Mike. It's up to you. Apparently, uh, not vibing too well. Gav says Das Boot. We got one vote for stay though. If you're asking, then yes, kick him out. All right, I got you. All right, Mike. I'm gonna put you on timeout. I'll put you on timeout. We'll see how you do while on timeout. So you're on timeout. Put you in the corner. You can come back. Well, again, we're not trying to argue about nothing today. We're excited that training camp is around the corner. Doesn't matter. So we'll put you on timeout. You feel free to come back and vibe with us. We're about vibes today. That's it. We're about vibes. That's it. So I'll give him an op. I'll give him an opportunity. So he's on a 5-minute timeout. If he wants to come back, contribute to the vibage, more than welcome. But if he's going to derail the vibage, then I'm afraid it's time. But today we're vibing, man. We're vibing because we're on the downslope. We're on the downslope of the offseason, and I'm excited about that. I can't wait. I can't wait to get back to football, man. You know, there's nothing really new to talk about other than we're close to having something to talk about. And that's what I'm looking for. I have not seen this yet. Unless I missed it. I was kind of out of pocket the last 5 days or so. So I could have missed it, but I don't think I did. I'm still waiting to see what the dates will be for open practice schedules to training camp. We'll see what that looks like, but have not seen anything yet. But of course, stay locked in. I'm gonna be shouting that from the rooftops the second we find out, and I'm really looking forward to being able to figure all that stuff out. Let's see. Deebo and Ayuk will be the top wide receiver duo this year. I can't remember if it was NFL or ESPN on NFL put out who is the number one wide receiver 2 in the NFL, and they didn't list Ayuk. they listed T. Higgins. They listed Devontae Smith. They listed Mike Williams, which, again, no disrespect to those guys at all. But I am like, where's Ayuk? Are we not considering Ayuk a wide receiver too? I would still consider Ayuk a wide receiver too. I would still say Deebo is the one for sure. And I mean, obviously they win in different ways. They're different wide receivers and their skill sets are pretty opposite spectrum type wide receivers, which is perfect. I don't need every guy to be the same. But I'm just like, man, how do you not put Ayuk on that question? Ayuk's him. And then I had some guys tell me, "Oh, Ayuk's overrated, bruh." I was like, "You're tripping." What's the inside news about Brock Purdy coming out of Jacksonville? Not much. I was DMing with his quarterback coach, but we were talking about fireworks because he posted this hilarious clip. Again, I've told you guys I talked to Brock Purdy's quarterback coach, Will Hewitt, at the combine for like 20 minutes. And we talked about Brock, we talked about Anthony Richardson, but we follow each other on Instagram, and he posted this hilarious clip. He's in Florida, obviously. He posted this hilarious clip of this big dude, probably looked like me, but he had these firework arms. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. This huge thing of fireworks on both his arms is like what are they called? Like Roman candles or whatever. But they're just just shooting. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Insanely dangerous. But we were talking about that. But I haven't asked him any quarterback questions. I know the vibes. We're gonna. That's a good question. Pull it up. I don't know if it's still up. He put it on his story. It was hilarious though. I'll look if I pull it. If it's there, I'll show it because it's quality. No, he doesn't have it up anymore. But it was hilarious. I don't know. I might try to get him on the show. We'll see. We'll see. But also too, I know for a fact that they're trying to just keep it quiet. Like with the current state of 49ers quarterback talk, anything would be considered news and could be turned into quotes and sound bites. So I'm imagining they're doing their best just to work. So the fact that we're also not hearing a ton about Brock in Jacksonville right now, I think speaks more to just the mentality. Put your head down and work. And I got no problems with that. We haven't really heard anything definitely to come out of there, but I'm going to say no news is good news right now. No news is good news. So I'll take it. But appreciate the super chat, Alex. We'll find out soon, man. We will find out soon, though. Let's see. How was my fourth? Oh, my fourth was good. A lot of swimming involved. Hopefully the same for you guys. You can see I got the burnt nose. I got the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer vibes going on. That means I was out in the sun a lot. And you know these gingers cook when they get out in the sun. Gav says, Brad, how much do we need a Javon Kinlaw redemption story? I would love it, man. I really would. You guys know me. I like to root for the underdogs, man. I really do. I like to root, not necessarily just root, but I like to see the positive in guys who maybe haven't met that potential yet. Because again, for me personally, I always felt as a player, I had a lot of potential, but it took me a long time to realize that potential. So when I see it in guys, I'm not super quick to just cut the cord, right? Like I understand, especially in this game of football, it can take years for things to click. With Javon, it's not about playing. It's about being available. That's it. And I think if he can stay available, which he has, he's been I mean, he looks like a physical freak. I mean, I've seen him posting some of his workouts. He does he does Pilates. I don't know if you guys know much about Pilates, but it's a lot of core stabilization um, and stuff like that. Dude looks, I mean, to be 6'6", like 320 and have a full six pack is crazy. I think this is going to be the healthiest he's ever been prior to getting hurt his rookie season. So I think this is going to be the best shot. There's two things happening though. There's also a lot of pressure on Javon, but I also think it's going to be his best opportunity to really have an impact. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I don't know what the future holds for Kinlaw. I don't, but if we can get Kinlaw this year to be an impactful player on the San Francisco 49, and I'm not talking like breakout best defensive lineman in the league. I'm not talking like that. I'm just we got a guy that we can plug into the middle, rotate in, provide ability as a run stuffer. If he can add anything in pass protect or pass rush, great. But again, I don't think we need to rely on him like that. I think it's the perfect storm. Having Javon with Javon and his health, and Javon on a contract year, it feel and again, the 49ers don't have to put him in. If he's ready to go, they can play him. If he's not ready to go, they don't need to play him. So if Javon's in, it's because he's earned that time. If Javon's in the rotation heavy, it's because he's earned that ability to be in that rotation. So we'll see what comes of it. But I mean, I hope, man. I remember at I would say Javon in joint practices in Minnesota was fun to watch because that was the healthiest I've probably seen Javon Kinlaw since his rookie season. Again, I was there, so I got to watch it up close. Personal, I can even pull it up for you guys right here. I got it right here. Let's watch a Javon Kinlaw pancake. Um, it was fun. Let's see. So we got Javon here. We got Bosa over here. We got Givens. We have Drake Jackson. Again, Givens is back. Drake's heading into year 2. Bosa. But if you can get this type of from Javon, get him into that rotation, he's just cooking. And obviously being able to use that power and then develop and work games off of it because the offensive linemen are going to be so pressed about the power that you can start working your bag of pass rushers, all that different stuff, man. Like if you could get that type of Javon Kinlaw back, and he looked phenomenal in joint practices. Remember that preseason game against the Vikings? He looked great. Felt like he got banged up down the road, right? And we just never got to see him that much from that point out. But man, if he's healthy, man, if we can just get him out there, I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see. Mumbo says, shout out to gang. Shout out the whole gang. Shout out to SDS. Shout out all you 49er fans who are hungry for 49ers football, just like me. Mumbo also says, I'm really rooting for Ambry. So much potential. Yes, this is a make or break. This is make or break. I mean, it's not like he's in a contract year or anything, but they drafted Darrell Luter Jr. They got guys like Quantrez Knight who can play safety and corner. It's a big year for Ambry, man. It really is. Like, he's firmly on the bubble, in my opinion. Firmly on the bubble, which is unfortunate considering the 49ers relied on him quite a bit at a certain point. Especially, you go back to the Rams game where he had that huge interception and had to step in and played pretty well. But Ambry is for sure on the bubble. He's probably a guy that heading into training camp has to really just take some steps forward to prove, he doesn't have to prove anything to me, obviously, but my opinion is I was someone, who was patient on Ambry. When Ambry got in, what was it? I think it was against Atlanta. No, he got in against the Bengals right in the 2021 season. They basically schemed him to not be put in trouble, but he still got into some trouble. He actually got a sack taken away from Bosa, if I'm not mistaken, for like illegal hands to the face or something like that. And then I think it was that next week they had Atlanta, and he was in better position, but was still getting beat for touchdowns. And then that following week, was it again? I can't even remember the exact. Can't even remember the exact schedule. It was Bengals. It was Bengals, Falcons, Titans, Texans, Rams to end the year. And Ambry kept getting a little bit better till making that game-saving interception week 18 against the Rams. So I was always just like, you just got to be patient. I saw steps from Bengals to Falcons, but it wasn't the best. And then Falcons to Titans, and it just kept getting a little bit better. But then in training camp last year, just wasn't that great. Wasn't that great. So big camp for Ambry Thomas. He definitely needs to come in and have a big year for sure. Because if not, I do think Ambry Thomas is in jeopardy of potentially losing his spot. And we'll see. We'll see. Mike stuck around. He's back. Welcome back, Mike. Hopefully the vibes are on point and we can have a good conversation. Again, we don't have to agree on everything. Agree to disagree, and we move on. But it's a big training camp. A lot of guys have to prove a lot of things. This is the most competition that the 49ers, I think, have had heading into a single training camp since I've started covering them, and I really started covering them in about 2018. And this competition is going to go crazy. Pretty soon here, we're going to do a 53-man roster projection so we can get that in prior to training camp. I've already messed around with it, and it's like I get anxiety sometimes, like hypothetically cutting someone, because I'm like, dang, he's good enough to be on the roster, but it's a numbers game. Are they going to keep 6 wide receivers? Are they going to keep 3 tight ends? Are they going to keep 3 quarterbacks? Well, like, how do the numbers play out? Are they going to keep 8 offensive linemen? Are they keeping 10, 11, 12 defensive linemen? How many linebackers are they keeping? Are they keeping 5? Are they keeping 6? Because they have so many linebackers. How many DBs are they keeping? Like, it's crazy. It's really crazy. But it's a good thing. It's stressful, but it's a great stress to have. Great stress to have. The worst stress was like that 2021 season when we're in training camp and we're like, our depth at defensive back is paper thin. And then our DBs started getting hurt. And we're like, there's no one. There's no one behind these guys. And that's not the case this year. I can't look at any position across the roster where it's like we have paper thin depth. That's not the case. 49ers are stacked. Like, we have a bunch of second year players that, again, are going to be a little bit unknown. Guys that stood out in training camp, guys that stood out in joint practices, guys that stood out in preseason. They just didn't make the roster, and they've been on the practice squad marinating and developing and getting better. Those guys are going to have opportunity to compete for spots, compete for special team spots. And this now more than ever, the depth is so good. And there are going to be some tough cuts. There are going to be players that get snatched up by the Rams. There are going to be players that get snatched up by the Cardinals, snatched up by Pistol Pete Carroll chewing his gum over there on the sideline, looking like, ooh, we got ourselves another good 40. It's going to happen. It's just set your clock to it. Be prepared. The 49ers are going to have to make some hard decisions, some hard cuts. And I can guarantee you those vultures in the NFC West are going to be watching, waiting to swoop. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And unfortunately, look at last year. The San Francisco 49ers drafted, what was his name? Tariq Castro, the cornerback out of Penn State, right? He got cut, and then he got added to Washington's 53-man roster. So it's going to happen. But again, like last year, that's a perfect example. The 49ers cut a 6th-round draft pick. So it's like, just because you got drafted doesn't guarantee your slot on the 53-man. He got drafted in the 6th round. He was released, but he was added to someone else's active roster. So we'll see. We'll see. Going to be a lot of tough cuts coming. What's good, my boy? Says, do you think Hufanga can take an? Yes, absolutely. I don't think Hufanga's done, man. I think we all agree that Hufanga kind of cooled a little bit. He still had a really good year all the way throughout, but there were some lapses in coverage or breakdowns or whatever you want to call it. That those existed. It happened. And I don't expect DBs to be perfect, just like I don't expect offensive linemen to be perfect. It's impossible. It's just impossible. Those are the two positions, whether defensive back or offensive line, they're the most ruthless in the form of public opinion because the misses stand out. When you blow a coverage, when you get behind someone, when you lose a pass pro rep, it's apparent. You can see it. Everyone sees it. They play it, so it stands out, I would say, much more than anyone else. So I think some of Huff's stood out at the end of last year, but overall, I think Huff was solid and, of course, deserving of the All-Pro nod. But I think he will get better. I think he'll improve. I think there's another gear to his game, mentally and physically. I think he'll improve. I don't think that Huff is the type of guy who will slow down either. He's going to keep attacking. He's going to keep trying to improve, and that will be his mentality. That's the good thing about the way the San Francisco 49ers identify talent is they identify guys who love football. So they identify guys who don't feel like being good or even being great is good enough. There's always looking to obtain more. How can I improve? How can I get better? Hufanga is one of those guys. I believe Hufanga absolutely has just an entirely other gear where he can play even better. And when you get Jair Brown, when you get a Gip back there who can help complement him, I can't wait to see Hufanga and Jair on the field at the same time. I just can't. I can't wait. I'm so excited to get my eyes on Jair Brown and how he fits into this defense, what role they have with him, how they have the two complementing each other, whether it's Huff single high, whether it's Jair single high, and then kind of rotating. Like if any one of those guys are going to be playing the robber, anyone's coming down, play some maybe big nickel, something like that. I don't know, but I can't wait to see what Steve is cooking. What's Steve cooking over there? Steve's cooking something nice. Oh, speaking of cooking, I apologize if you're ready to start the live right at the beginning. I had to push it out. I had to get the ribs in the oven. Complete squirrel, but I've been schmurdering some ribs lately. Cooking them in the oven for about 3 to 4 hours. I used to have an offset where I would smoke the ribs, but I got rid of the offset when I moved. So I've had to adopt cooking my ribs in the oven. But let me tell you, I got it dialed right now. And these ribs, mm, mm. So squirrel. I had to push the live back a little bit because I lost track of time. I was like, I need to be cooking while we're on live. So I got ribs cooking right now. Steve cooking got me thinking of the ribs cooking, got me thinking of the 49ers cooking. We're cooking out here. We're cooking. Yes, Mike, better than the McRib. I'll send some your way. Fire. And I can't wait to see what Wilkes is cooking. I can't wait. Whew. Can't wait. Whew, whew, whew. Rib sandwich on sourdough. Let's go. You already know. You already know. I love it, man. Oh yeah, come through. Come through. I got 3 racks in the oven right now. I got them cooking at about 275. I got them wrapped in foil. So we're gonna cook them in foil on 275 for about 3 hours. Then we're gonna take them out the foil. We're going to I make my own barbecue sauce. So I'm gonna put Brad's own barbecue sauce on top of it, and then we just coat it for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Chef's kiss. I can't wait. I can't wait. Low-key fire ribs. Just saying. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but I do mean to toot my own horn. Those ribs be bussin'. Smoking tri-tips. I cooked a tri-tip last week, but we didn't smoke them. Oh, or I gotta try that. I can't. I need to get the offset back. That's what I really want. You know, I want the offset smoker back. I do. Oh, cooking while cooking. Oh, you feel me? You feel me? You feel me, dog? Hell yeah. Definitely not definitely not vegan. Definitely not vegan. So technically wet. I cook them primarily through dry, and then the last hour or 2 is when they get wet. And we start building that crust, the layers of like caramelized barbecue sauce. Fire. Broil for the last 10 minutes, potentially. We'll have to look into it. But man, I'm hungry now, man. It's funny how just me saying Steve Wilkes gonna be cooking literally got me completely sideswiped thinking about ribs that I'm cooking right now. But again, I'm not gonna be the only one cooking. It's also gonna be Steve Wilkes. It's also gonna be Kyle Shanahan. It's also gonna be the boys at training camp. Boy, I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. Let's see. I saw some other questions. We were talking about Huff, kind of transitioned us into Jair a little bit. Charlene says this will be the hardest season to predict at 53. 100%. We should do what should we do? We should do something. We should do like a 53-man roster bracket. See, and we tally them up, see who does the best. I don't know how we would coordinate that at all, but that would be fun. Do I think Mason is going to have a bigger role? He's a dog. With him playing, that'll keep CMC healthy. He better have listen, if it was up to me, Jordan Mason had a much bigger role last year. But again, it's not up to me. But we do know Kyle watches the show. So again, it's good, Kyle. I hope you had some ribs this weekend. Hope you had some good time. We didn't get any Kyle Shanahan throwing into a pizza oven on the 4th of July. Like was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. We didn't get any Kyle Shanahan content, but Kyle, I know you're watching. I know you like those rib tips as well, but again, an RB tip. We've been handing out these RB tips for a while. Let's get JP some more carries. Yeah, let's do it. Also, Elijah too. I'll give Elijah some more carries. I don't mind RBBC, running back by committee, and that is someone who owns, some Christian McCaffrey shares in Dynasty. I would love to see the lion's share go to CMC, of course. He's the best running back in the NFL right now. But I want CMC to be fresh. I want him to be healthy. 17-game season, long road ahead. Again, we expect to go deep into the playoffs. Keep my guy fresh. Run JP, run Elijah. We'll see. Are we going to keep two fullbacks when Jack Coletto, a.k.a. Jack Hammer, lights training camp up? I would imagine it will be similar to the other fullback that they carried on, Josh Hawkett. You guys remember Josh Hawkett? He was on the practice squad for about 2 or 3 years with the 49ers. He was a decent fullback. He really was. He was a good pass catcher out of the backfield. He was smaller, but he was decent. He was decent fullback. Jack Coletto, I don't think they would keep two fullbacks on the roster, but I mean, you bring Jack Coletto around to the practice squad, I think it'll be safe and sound chilling on the practice squad. And it would be nice, especially if they can kind of get him prepped for that Kyle Juszczyk role, because we did talk about, we don't know what the contract stuff is going to look like with Juice coming up in the future, but it'll be interesting. How do y'all who would y'all rather keep if y'all had to choose one, Mitchell or TDP? I mean, I think it's pretty crystal clear that you got to stick with Elijah right now. I mean, I know TDP was a 3rd rounder and Elijah was a 6th rounder, but you got to stick with Elijah, man. You just have to. We at least know what Elijah is. We know what Elijah possesses. We know that he's a very hard runner. He really knows how to run behind his pads. His biggest issue has just been health, but it's gotta be Mitchell, man. Has to be. Mitchell's done too much. And the thing is, because we've seen Mitchell in a limited fashion last year, Mitchell can improve from what he did his rookie season. Like, I know we're hyping up Jordan Mason quite a bit, and rightfully so. We all love Jordan Mason. But I think there's another aspect to it where you just can't sleep on Elijah Mitchell. Like, I have them on the same tier right now. I think that's how good Jordan Mason is. I think he's on the same tier as Elijah Mitchell. I think they're right there with one another. But I also don't think in that same breath that you can't assume that Elijah isn't going to get better as well. I think there's still another gear to Elijah Mitchell. That he just needs to stay healthy, find a rhythm, and be able to just be available. Because if he can do that, we've seen how talented Mitchell can be. I mean, I think what did he have that? Did he have that touchdown in the playoffs against Seattle? I think touchdown in the playoffs against Seattle, where what was it? Brock like scrambled like out from his left, and then he hit Elijah Mitchell right there as his emergency target out of the backfield in the flat for a touchdown. We've seen him have I think it was like that 2 touchdown game against the Chargers where Elijah Mitchell is actually I would say the better running back on the day, opposed to CMC against the Chargers. Like, Elijah had a day against the Chargers. The thing with Elijah's health and consistency, as the talent is there, the hard running ability is there, the makeup is there. Elijah has it. That's not the problem. Elijah just needs to stay available. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. And I just don't see how you can take TDP right now. I would say TDP looked better at the end of the year than he did at the beginning of the year, but still is really small sample size. Really small sample size. And so far, TDP has only proven that he can be a 2-down back. I haven't yet seen enough from TDP to prove that he's a 3-down back. And I do think that's important. Being able to pass block and being able to catch out of the backfield. That's important. I haven't seen enough from TDP to feel comfortable yet that he's a 3-down back. I can see Elijah as a 3-down back. I could see him execute pass pro and be able to catch out of the backfield. We know that from Elijah. TDP is an unknown. Even though they spent a higher draft pick on TDP, we just don't know yet. We just don't know yet. But I am looking forward to watching both Eli and Jordan Mason. I really do think they're in the same boat. Do I think the chemistry between CMC and Juice is going to be better this year? I think in a sense you could say yes, but also on the other side of it, CMC is so good that it does. CMC is like he's like O-line fullback proof. He's so good at seeing it. He's so good at using his ability to be able to hit holes, cut, juke, dip into a hole, juke out of the hole. CMC is just on a different level. I would say that there would be some sense that there is going to be a much more comfortability for CMC in general with the offensive line, and of course, running behind Juice and Kittle, understanding what they're going to do on any given play, of course. But also in that same breath, CMC's like he's so good, it almost doesn't matter. But yeah, it could definitely happen. It could definitely happen. Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, we got to do captain's predictions. Um, do we make CMC a captain on the team this year? I'm gonna go ahead and say yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say with how CMC showed up to OTAs, with everything we heard about him setting the tone for the entire team in OTAs, the way he works, all of that, I'm gonna say yeah. Obviously, we know he's loved in the locker room, but what we heard about CMC and the way he worked in OTAs, and you got guys like Kittle saying like, "Dude, he came out here, he set the tone." You know how good CMC is, and you see how hard he's working. So obviously that's leadership. You don't have to be a rah-rah guy to be a leader. You can be a leader through your actions. And sometimes that's more impactful on a football field than being a rah-rah guy. So the fact that CMC is already going to be well loved in the locker room and he's doing it with his actions on the field, being one of the top players in the NFL, showing up to voluntary off-season training and going 100%, that kind of reminds me of like Jerry Rice. You know what I mean? Like the stories that we heard of Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice would go 150 miles an hour every practice because he truly believed you practice how you play. And, him and Dion would get into fights about it because Dion was kind of the opposite. Like Dion was like, practice, AI vibes, like practice. We talk about practice. Like, who cares about practice? You have two different types of mentalities. You have your gamers. You've got guys in the NFL who don't need to practice. They literally can show up for games and go crazy. But you got this other set of guys, I would say, like CMC, who have all the talent, but they have that makeup and mentality to go 100 miles an hour all the time. Like, and setting the tone in an off-season voluntary training session in OTAs that CMC is coming out going 100%, yeah, give him the C. He's already proven to represent, everything that the 49ers stand for. What he did from, again, actionable items, what he did last year for the 49ers was insane, was massive. And the fact that he's already coming into OTAs, putting in that effort, putting in that ability, that time when he could be in Cancun. He really could. He could be wherever he wants because it's voluntary. But he chose to be with this team going 100 miles an hour. Yeah, give him the C. I think that one's going to be it's going to be hard not to give him. It's going to be hard not to give him the C, I think. So, we'll see, man. I can't wait. Man, I can't wait. I'm just getting excited talking about this type of stuff, man. Who's going to be our captains? Who's going to be on the final 53? Can't wait. Can't wait. Who's going to break out? Who's going to fall off? Because someone's going to, it's the way the NFL is, man. Some rise, some fall. Happens every year. So obviously, we like to be optimistic and we like to focus on the positives. We don't like to be overly negative here. But again, some guys are going to fall off and we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to evaluate it honestly. Where I, I can only speak for myself. I don't want to speak for anyone else because everyone has their own way of doing things and that's perfectly fine. I really don't care a whole lot about how people go about their business because again at the end of the day, I can only control what I control. And so for me, I I really want to be able to give you the good and the bad and do it in a way where listen, you know, and it is what it is. We're not going out here to attack anyone. We're not going out here to ruin anyone's name or credibility or reputation. But again, guys are going to ball out and guys are going to stink. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. And we're going to have to, I want to come out and I want to be 100% honest about it all. And so we're going to be on top of it all. And I'm really looking forward to it. Barry, a baller, says Austin Bryant is my sleeper. He has some sweet pass rush moves. I have been so Austin Bryant has been working out with Cleveland Ferrell and Eric Armstead. They work out with Defoe. They work out with Christian Wilkins. They have this little pass rush group. And I've been watching these guys work out for the last couple weeks. Cleveland is a guy that I really like, but I get what you're saying with Austin Bryant. So Arden Key is a guy who works with them too. And it's really cool because even though they're doing like bag drills or get off drills or hand drills, you get to see them in succession. So you get to see Arden Key, you get to see Christian Wilkins, then you get to see Defoe, Eric, Austin Bryant, and Cleveland. Austin Bryant is intriguing. I mean, you talk about NFL body. He looks like an NFL player. He's got an NFL, like, he's yoked up, looks like he's fast. He's got the I think it's the shut. Not the I forget the helmet that he has. Wide receivers used to wear the helmet a lot back in the day. But it makes him look faster. He's a guy that I've been noticing. So if he's your sleeper, that's a good choice because he does possess bend, get off, and speed. Now it's up to Chris Kosurik to take it and turn it into functional usability on a field on game days. If he can do that, Austin Bryant could absolutely be a sleeper. He's got tools. That's the thing. He's got tools. And you can't teach tools sometimes. You can't teach the measurables. And he's very intriguing. Him and Cleveland together are very intriguing to me. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what those guys do. And again, I think we make a lot about the edge. I think the edge might be all right, man. I think the edge might be all right. Do you think the 49ers will ever go against their archetype at linebacker and draft someone that with the Leo Chanel archetype? I mean, they brought in that one guy that they just released like a week ago, but he was an undrafted free agent. The linebacker out of Minnesota, I forget his name. What is his name? Mariano Sori Marin. He definitely was more Leo Chanel than anyone else on the roster. It'd be interesting. I mean, Leo Chanel would have been phenomenal because you could play him at multiple spots. He's got a little bit of that Micah Parsons in him. Maybe not from a physical standpoint, but versatility standpoint, definitely. And I think that's the archetype more so that I think that fits the 49ers. Guys that can do multiple things. Again, to be able to get a guy who can play on the edge, can shift over to the 3 tech and play in space, that just feels like a 49er. It feels like a guy that the 49ers would get a ton of use out of. Because how do you key on him? Is he a linebacker? Is he a DN? Is he rushing over the guard? That's why the Chiefs got a good one in Leo. And I know Justin was all over it. But yeah, man, a lot of questions to be asked in training camp. A lot of stuff that we are going to be able to talk about. Again, we're weeks away. We're not months away from training camp. We're weeks away from training camp, and I'm starting to get excited. I can feel the energy shifting a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long off season for your boy, but I feel the energy shifting. I feel the vibes coming back, and that can only mean one thing. That means that training camp is right around the corner. Woo, let's go. I can't wait. We'll have some more fun content for what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. I can't believe tomorrow's Friday. It feels like today feels like a Monday for me. But I'll figure out and lock in what we got going tomorrow. But shout out to the SDS, man. Shout out to you guys. Miss you guys. It's been a couple days since I seen y'all. Good to have the vibes back. Definitely miss the SDS. Definitely miss the mod squad. Shout out the gang. Grab your cookies on the way out. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Always a pleasure with you guys. Shout out to Mumbo, Alex Swain for sending the super chats. Appreciate you guys. O-line predictions from the O-line guru. Maybe you'll have to stick around and check in tomorrow, Hugo, and we can go over that. Again, I got the 53-man roster projection cooking up, so be prepared. We're going to do it all. Shout out to you guys. And again, shout out to guys like you, Hugo. Shout out to all the OGs. We see you. Appreciate you. And we'll see you again soon. Talk some 49ers football. I'm out of here. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.